Alright, Master Duel is not in the best shape right now, but Thunder Dragon got a lot more consistent and powerful with the new batch of cards, so I will show you the, in my opinion at least, most optimal way you can play the deck as of right now. We abuse Baronne de Fleur, which if you haven't lived under a rock, you know everyone has been talking about it, and this card is really crazy. We have another card from the new batch of cards that enables Thunder Dragon to make Baronne de Fleur consistently. Alright, let's take a look at it. I think this is going to be the best way to play it moving forward. Let's go. What are the two big changes to the Thunder Dragon deck? The first one is Baronne de Fleur. Of course you know about this card. 1 tuner plus a non-tuner, level 10 monster, 3000 attack. One of the craziest cards in the TCG as well, still at the moment, even though it was released many months ago. Once per turn, target a card on the field, destroy it. Just target any card, destroy it once per turn. Once while face up on the field, when a card or effect is activated as a quick effect, negate the activation, destroy it, Omni negate. Always incredible. But then a third effect as well. Once per turn during the standby phase, you can return this card to the extra deck and special summon a level 9 or lower monster from your grave. There are decks that abuse all three of these effects. For our Thunder Dragon deck, we only need the first two, really sometimes the third effect as well. The first one, not only because it destroys cards your opponent controls, which is the usually good scenario for you, you can also, if you are in a state of the game where you don't really have any Thunder Dragon cards left in your hand, but you have a Colossus or Titan on the field, you can target your own Colossus or Titan, destroy it, but with the protection clause, you can protect them, banishing Thunder Dragon cards from the grave, triggering them, and then getting your engine going again. Also, it's an Omni Negate that is good for any deck that is out there. The other card, and the reason we can even make Baronne de Fleur in the Thunder Dragon deck, is this card. Ready Fusion got released in a new batch of cards. This is a modern version of Instant Fusion. More or less a, you say, nerfed version. So Instant Fusion is at 1, it's limited, pay 1000 life, special summon a level 5 or lower fusion monster from your extra deck. Ready Fusion says pay 1000 life, special summon a level 6 or lower, non-effect fusion monster from your extra deck. So you can summon a level 6 instead of a level 5, which is better, but it can't be an effect monster, which that is of course the huge downside to Ready Fusion. But for our purposes, this doesn't even matter too much. The usual thing was Kaminari attack. This was our usual target that we summoned with Instant Fusion in the past, because we can summon Titan with its inherent summoning clause with Kaminari attack by banishing a Thunder monster from our hand and Kaminari attack from the field and triggering our Thunder Dragons from the hand. With Ready Fusion being released, you can focus more on your extra deck, more spots in your extra deck to these cards. You have a much higher chance of opening one of these fusion spell cards. The first one being this one, Alvain, the Essence of Vanish, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's a Fusion Tuner level 2 monster, and you can make Chaos Ruler very easily with this card. Also, this is a Dark monster, which helps you make Union Carrier to get your Buster Lock when you need it. You know, sometimes this can also just be an easy extender. But more importantly, Sea Monster of Theseus. This is a level 5 Fusion Tuner monster. Everything else doesn't matter. You can summon this with either your Instant Fusion or your Ready Fusion, get out something like Thunder Dragon Dark, and then make with Thunder Dragon Dark and the Sea Monster of Theseus your Baronne de Fleur, because the levels equal 5, 5 equals 10. Alright, so that's how you make your Baronne de Fleur. How do you get into this play? For example, opening a Loof Lupine with any Thunder Dragon, banishing that Thunder Dragon, banishing Roar from our deck, summoning Dark to the field, and then summoning our Theseus with the Ready Fusion, putting both to the grave, summoning Baronne de Fleur, and then even adding a card from the Dragon Dark to our hand. That is more or less the game plan that we want to achieve with the Baronne de Fleur. Everything else stays more or less the same to the last profile that we did. Colossus, Titan Control, but in addition we can make a Baronne de Fleur, and we still play Union Carrier and Buster Lock, because for some reason this is still legal in Master Duel, with a lot of other unhealthy, unfair cards being legal in this game, and you have to abuse them if you want to compete up there. For hand traps, we're on Maxi, we're on Ash Blossom, we're on Droplet. I finally crafted this card, it's amazing. And obviously on the 1 Nibiru with the 3 Maxi, because you can draw into this if your opponent really decides to go off and take the Maxi challenge. Then you drop this, hopefully draw into it. I also added Monster Reborn as an additional extender, because I feel like, this is more or less something that I want to try out as well, but because I feel like with Baronne de Fleur being in the format, you know, sometimes you can snack a Baronne de Fleur from their grave and then use its effect to destroy cards and negate stuff and all the good things. But also with Ready Fusion, sometimes you want to summon a Dragon Dark from your grave or an OG Thunder Dragon and make Baronne de Fleur that way. It's just a one-off and everyone has access to that card. So I think if you want to, you know, because all of these are going to be very expensive. Ready Fusion, Baronne de Fleur, if you want to get those cards right now. Pretty expensive, as you can see. I don't have any crafting points left. Having Reborn, you know, everyone has this card from the beginning of the game, so you can just put that in there if you want to. Of course, you can also play more hand traps. We also play 2 Cold by the Grave as just generic outs to their maxis and their hand traps. And then for Thunder Dragon cards, nothing has really changed. 3 Thunder Dragon Matrix, 3 Thunder Dragon, 3 Dragon Dark, 1 Hawk, 1 Roar, 1 Duo, double Fusion. I feel like 3 was maybe a bit too much, so we put it down to 2 again. And then 3 Aloof if you want to count it as a Thunder Dragon card. For extenders, like I said, all the Fusion spell cards that help us immensely and make the deck a lot more consistent and powerful. But also Gold Sarcophagus and the Triple Allure. For the extra deck, there had to be a lot changed. 4 cards we had to take out for the cards, as mentioned, Baronne de Fleur, Chaos Ruler, and the 2 additional Ready Fusion targets. We put out Apollosa, Boral Sword Dragon, IP Masquerena, as well as Nightmare Cerberus. Those were more utility options. Sometimes you would make them, not that often though. And these new cards, you definitely need them. And I do feel like, for now, it feels like it is worth playing these cards instead of the utility link monsters. Just because you would play Ready Fusion anyway, but having the additional options to go for Baronne de Fleur is just so nice because it can also play around Nibiru. Alright, let's look at a couple of replays and see if this Baronne de Fleur card is really that good, and also if it's that good in Thunder Dragon. Today's replays are not going to be live because I just filmed them. I just forgot to put on the audio, but we already played the game, so I'll comment them afterwards. This first one was really funny. We drew Dragon Buster, Double Maxi, Allure of Darkness, Ready Fusion. We went first, so of course this hand is garbage. So we had to just kind of bet that we draw something good with Allure. We still had the Dragon Buster to banish from our hand, so it wasn't the worst, but we drew Allure and the Droplet. So now I had to make more or less a choice. Spoilers, already activated Allure, but we had to make a choice. Do we just do nothing and hope that Maxi and Droplet stop them, or we just, you know, we're in Gold League. Do we just try something out? I went to Allure, you know, just for fun. We drew Ash and Roar. I had so many moments in the TCG where this exact thing happened to me. Having no darks in the hand and then drawing into something like Roar or Dark, it always makes your opponent trigger so much. And then we banish the Roar, and then we can of course go off incredibly well. And this will just go to show how incredibly good now Ready Fusion is as well, because a combo like Allure plus Roar plus Ready Fusion makes your Baronne with your Colossus, because now we can get the Sea Monster of Theseus, go with Dragon Dark and Sea Monster of Theseus into Baronne de Fleur, having a negate before our 5th summon, playing around Nibiru, which is very important, then dropping our Dragon Hawk to the grave and summoning back the Dragon Roar and making a Colossus. Pretty much, I like this end board very much. We ended with Droplet, a Colossus, a Floodgate, an Omni Negate, and 2 interruptions in our hand. With one of them is Maxi, which is, you know, there's really no way that anyone breaks this board, I feel like, because it's just, like, they would have to have the perfect hand with a very competitive deck to break this. They activate Desires. I remember I accidentally turned off the toggle button, so I wanted to ash this, but we didn't have the option. It wasn't really the most important thing, to be honest. We could also just ash the Kowloon here. The reason I ashed the Kowloon is because they could get the Kinlong on the board, which the Kinlong could negate our Colossus, and I feel like having that Floodgate against Virtual World is also pretty good. They normal summon the Lulu. I feel like they normal summon the Lulu. So usually I would say that they have 2 Lulus in hand, or their hand is just very terrible and they don't have anything to normal summon. But in this specific scenario, they probably were normal summoning this because it didn't do anything in the hand, because we had Colossus on board. They activate Lily targeting the Lulu. We chain Maxi. Of course, it's incredibly unfair. They chain Ash, and here I was thinking maybe I want to negate this with Baronne de Fleur, and I actually did it in the end just because I felt like, well, the Maxi is more or less our safe bet. If they have an incredibly broken hand where they can out our board with, I don't know what, we would still draw a lot of cards with Maxi, and that was quite important to me. So they, you know, they put Chuche and Kinlong in the grave. With Kinlong they cannot activate, but Chuche they can activate, you know, altering the levels. I thought that maybe they want to go for Zeus, maybe a rank 6 play, go for Zeus. I think that would have been better from their perspective, just because they let us draw a lot of cards, as you can see here. We drew even into our Nibiru, which is incredibly crazy. The reason I didn't want to do the Nibiru earlier, let's actually pause this for a moment. I didn't want to do it earlier because I hadn't drawn into a engine card yet. So our hand was, even though we had 6-7 cards in hand, our hand was still not the best. Because on the following turn we couldn't have done anything because we didn't have a fusion in the grave, a Thunder Dragon fusion. But then we drew the Gold Sarcophagus, and then I knew, okay, now we can use Nibiru, because Gold Sarcophagus is obviously our 1-card combo. In the end phase, they used the GG effect to add back the Laulau. We still had our Droplet face down as well, and we had double Maxi to back, you know, the following turn up with as well. So there was never really a point where we had the fear of losing, but this also goes more to show, you know what, or not goes to show, but is more to show you what you can do with Ready Fusion, and if you banish Roar with it. Just being able to go for Baronne is incredibly good. Because like I said, I think playing around Nibiru is something that the Thunder Dragon deck really missed, more or less. Yeah, it's something that is really good for the deck. And also having 3 additional instant fusions for specifically when Colossus is legal in Master Duel is so good. So we use instant fusion and summon a monster in the zone of Cross Sheep. They activate a Chuche, but they don't have any banished cards, even though they could have chained their Chuche, and in the end also their Kinlong activated in their main phase 1 when our Colossus was gone, and had 2 cards banished, but they didn't do that. We, just for fun, because we could do it, we summoned with Instant Fusion Kabinari attack, summoned Ash Blossom back with the Cross Sheep, and then we went for Chaos Ruler, and we milled 5 cards, you know. It wasn't really anything that we could really hit that would have changed the outcome of this game, but it's just something fun to do, and Chaos Rule is just a really good card to have in general. We activate the Thunder Dragon Fusion, summoning our Thunder Dragon Titan, shuffling back our Colossus, so we can do that again, and then we go for Unicorn, shuffling back their token, as well as being able to summon back the Chaos Ruler from the graveyard. So that was a really smooth game. Let's look at another one. In this one, we went first again, and our opening hand is more or less the dream hand, where I can also show off very nicely what the deck is supposed to do. We open Ash, Aloof, Dragon Dark, Fusion, Ready Fusion. So what we do here is we normal summon the Aloof Lupine, banishing the Thunder Dragon Dark, and banishing the Thunder Dragon Roar. The only thing that could have been even better is not having the Dark in our hand, but having Matrix in our hand, because then we could have added the Matrix as well in the process of this turn. We didn't get it that way. What I wanted to show off is how we can play around Nibiru once again with the Aloof Lupine and the Dragon Roar. So we even summoned the Roar, the Dragon Dark, with the Roar from the deck. Even though we already used the Dragon Dark already, so we cannot search something again, of course, but it's just to make Baronne before our 5th summon with Ready Fusion, so we're going to do that. We added the OG Thunder Dragon because we already did Fusion in hand, so we can make Colossus very easily with that, and then still have a Thunder Dragon in the hand for the following turn, as well as having the Fusion in the grave to be able to search a Thunder monster next turn. It's very important that you think about your grind game, your turn 3 every time you play your Thunder combos, because it can happen that if you don't pay attention, you only have a Colossus and you don't have any follow-up, and then you will lose in the following turn, even though they cannot out the Colossus on the first turn. With the pure Thunder Dragon deck, you don't have enough power usually to, in comparison to maybe like a combo version of Thunder Dragon, you don't have enough power on the following turn in your grave to do a whole bunch of things. So definitely that is something you have to keep in mind. But we passed here. We ended on Baronne, Colossus, and Aloof. They activated Golden Lord, which Golden Lord is one of the best counters to Baronne the Fleur, of course. We didn't negate it. I think once again because we forgot to turn the toggle on. I usually turn it off on my turn because otherwise they know I have a hand trap, but it didn't even really matter because even if we would have negated it, they could have used the Golden Lord just to summon it back from the graveyard and run over the Baronne de Fleur. And I think this case it was even better because they didn't realize that our Aloof had an effect where we could add back the banished Thunder Dragon Roar if they attacked it and destroyed it by battle. So that way we forced them more or less to attack the Aloof Lupine, which they did, and then we added back the Dragon Roar, and this gives us an incredible follow-up turn. So we draw. And we draw Droplet, which that's totally fine. You know, Droplet is even though it is a more or less counter card to combo decks, it is still alright versus the Eldritch deck, because you can use it in the damage step to destroy their Golden Lord if you cannot run over it. We search the duo with the Thunder Dragon Fusion in the grave, we're banishing the Thunder Dragon Dark, then Thunder Dragon Dark will trigger, giving us a Thunder Dragon Matrix. The reason I did this is because I was scared of Skill Drain being down here, because it is the one card that would have stopped us from winning for sure. So I wanted to have Thunder Dragon Matrix, so as soon as we summoned the Thunder Dragon Titan, we could chain the Thunder Dragon Matrix to their Skill Drain and then possibly destroy that card. So we use the Thunder Dragon Roar, getting back our Thunder Dragon Fusion. Of course, our duo will trigger, and then we use Thunder Dragon to get more Thunder monsters in the graveyard, then activating our Fusion, putting back our nothing, because they chain Golden Land forever, and negating the card. We would have obviously put back the Thunder Dragon, and Thunder Dragon Dark from the banish pile, because you usually want to keep your Thunder Dragons in the graveyard as much as possible. And that's fine, you know. For me, this was really fine because now we can just attack, apply some pressure, attack directly. They activate Sanguine. We chain Ash Blossom because we don't want to get them, want them to get more monsters on the field and sort of survive that way. We just want to apply a pressure very aggressively. So we put them down on basically one attack, right? One attack of us is now enough to win the game. They use Golden Lord to get rid of the Colossus, which our duo actually triggers because they activated a monster effect in the hand. Funnily enough, this doesn't only trigger when a Thunder monster effect is activated. They use the Elixir of Black Awakening, setting the Conquistador to the field using the Lord in the grave and summoning that back. And at this point I already knew, because they got rid of our Colossus, that we were going to win for sure, even more than before, just because we can activate the droplet in the damage step, forcing them to to commit to their attack, and then we can use the duo's effect because we destroyed something by battle to search Thunder monsters from the hand. The funny thing is, with droplet we could even discard the Matrix, then searching another Matrix with its own effect because we banished it with duo. They put back Conquistador on the field, and in the end phase they use the Conquistador in the grave to put Sanguine on the field, so they at least have one interruption, but of course it won't matter. In the end phase we can even use Duo's fourth effect, I think, and put Dragon Dart back to the bottom so we have more resources in our deck. In the draw phase they use the Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine, but because this doesn't target, we don't chain the Cold by the grave. And we have Thunder Dragon Fusion in the grave. We have so many triggers. We have Matrix, Hawk, Thunder Dragon. It doesn't even matter. We add the Dragon Roar, and then Dragon Roar will add back the Thunder Dragon Fusion. And once again, here it doesn't matter. They're obviously going to destroy our duo with the Conquistador, but they only have 950 life left. And then we can summon the Thunder Dragon Titan and just destroy both of their cards with the Thunder Dragon effect, and then attack directly, and that is basically going to be game. So even though Baronne de Fleur wasn't the game-winning card or match-winning card here in this game, I still think that having the option to go for this card and just having more consistency even in your Thunder Dragon plays, with being able to summon the Kaminari attack with the Ready Fusion as well, is just so incredibly good and will definitely change the Thunder deck moving forward, at least as far as I feel like. Both of the new cards, Baronne de Fleur and Ready Fusion, changed the Thunder Dragon deck completely, and in my opinion, this is more or less the version to play at the moment for pure Thunder Dragons. Well, what do you think? What do you think about the list specifically that I showed off, but also about Baronne de Fleur and Ready Fusion in general in the Thunder Dragon deck, especially with Colossus being legal? This brings so many new nuances to the deck. It is something that I haven't tried because when Baronne de Fleur got released in the TCG, Colossus was already banned. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. It's actually going to be a video that I'm very excited for. It's going to be a vlog about when I was in Germany and played a tournament there with a couple of friends. So, I guess stay tuned or whatever, right? At the end of the week. Hope you loved it, and I'll see you in the next one.